Hey everybody, my name is Steven and welcome to Storytime. Today we're going to be reading some r/idontworkherelady stories. And quickly before this video starts, I just want to say about 60% of people who watch this video aren't currently subscribed. So if you lovely person, enjoy these videos, please make sure to subscribe so you'll never miss an upcoming one. With that being said, let's get into the stories. I choose to blame it on the virus panic. This happened to my neighbor slash best friend slash boss, BFF, and me today. A little background important to the story. We're both redheaded women, both work for the same law enforcement department. I generally work nights, she generally works days. We both were told to take the day off after working 3 36-hour shifts with only a few hours of sleep between because of dealing with panic from a certain virus that, aside from a couple of travelers, hasn't hit our area yet. Since we both needed stuff, BFF and I grabbed BFF's 2 offspring, off 1 and off 2, and head for a certain store that is a local chain that is something like a slimmed down W-Mart. The uniform of their employees is black slacks, white polo, and an apron that varies by department. BFF is dressed in flats, casual pants, and a white button-down over a cami and her vest. I'm in blue jeans, knee-high boots, and a department t-shirt over my vest. In other words, nothing like the store's uniform. Plus we have, belts with handcuffs, guns, and holsters. We're in the store for about half an hour. I'm pushing one cart. Off 1 is pushing the other, while BFF is holding off 2 in one arm and pulling things off the shelf with the other. Suddenly we hear a loud crash and a scream in the next aisle. BFF passes off to me, telling me to watch her, and heads over to the next aisle. She barely makes it around the corner when I hear her call for me. I set off 2 down, tell her to wait with off 1, and come around the corner. Here is the sight I see. One young woman, her head slightly bleeding, trying to free herself from the grasp of a crazy blonde lady, probably roughly in her late 30s to late 40s, while a man and a few kids look on. Crazy lady looks up at BFF and immediately says, "Oh good, are you the manager of this poopy store? This lazy bee refuses to help me. I want her fired." She then jerks the young woman so hard that the young woman runs into the shelves, cutting herself a second time. "Ma'am, let her go." BFF states flatly, "I don't think she works here." "What do you mean you don't think she works here? Don't you know your own employees? What kind of poopy idiot freaking manager are you?" BFF looks at me, I look at BFF, then look back at Crazy Lady, giving her my most wicked smile. "I'd say she knows her employees pretty well," I remarked. "However, that lady doesn't work for the store. She's not wearing the uniform." "Tell your freaking security grunt to be silent," Crazy Lady spouts off. Mama," one of the kids urgently starts. "I don't think she's security." "Shut up, Marco." Not real name. "Can't you see Mama is talking to the manager?" "Ma'am, I'm not the manager," BFF says, pointing to the store manager who is now hurrying over. "He is. Now let go of the girl, I won't ask again." She starts reaching for her handcuffs. "Freaking lying cat, you white folk witches are all the same. Racist and sticking up for each other." Rather ironic considering that Crazy Lady was paler than I am. And that's saying something. At that moment, off 2 came running around the corner. Crazy Lady finally let go of the terrified and injured girl and then grabbed off 2, flinging her halfway down the aisle. "Stupid brat, wait your turn, you stupid little..." Wham! Crazy Lady stopped talking as she ricocheted off shelves. "Don't ever touch my daughter again," BFF told her as she tried to handcuff Crazy Lady. At this point, the man that had been standing with the kids tries to grab onto BFF and winds up taking a knee to the groin for his trouble. Crazy Lady takes advantage of the moment, pushes BFF off, grabs a jar off the shelf to swing towards BFF's head, and freezes as she realizes I've drawn my weapon. Her eyes go wide. "I'll call corporate and have you fired for this," she hissed. I guess Crazy Lady didn't see anything wrong with having a weapon herself and trying to use it, but somehow someone else with a weapon stopping her from potentially killing someone else is a bad thing. "Mama," the little boy screamed, "I've been trying to tell you they don't work here. That lady's police, look at her shirt." She looked down at my shirt and she definitely got that look people get when they realize they are in serious trouble. Wish I could say the fight left her then. Instead, as she was Mirandized, she kept insisting that she had done nothing wrong and that she was being entrapped by the police. After Crazy Lady and the man that tried to grab BFF were cuffed, given their rights, and sat on the floor, the manager helped me watch over the two while BFF went and checked on off 2 while we waited on someone actually on duty and for medics to arrive. Entire thing took maybe 5 minutes from the time we heard the crash until the end. Another 10 for coworkers and medics to arrive. The young woman that was first assaulted had to go to the hospital to be checked out. Poor girl was really scared she was going to catch something at the hospital. Off 2 had her arm broken and also had to go to the hospital. The man and kids turned out to be her boyfriend and their children. Crazy Lady and boyfriend are now in jail for the foreseeable future since courts are closed. Crazy Lady's kids are going to social services. Boyfriend was still in the process of applying for his green card. Now he probably can't get it and may be facing deportation at the end of all this. Since the injured girl, BFF, and I couldn't finish our shopping, the manager took our lists and promised that everything would be delivered to our houses tomorrow. Before anyone asks, we are not required to wear our vests off duty, but most of us do. As for why we have our guns and badges while shopping with kids, in our department certain ranks are required to carry weapons, badges, and cuffs while off duty. Oh, and this whole thing apparently started because the store was out of toilet paper, and the Crazy Lady decided the girl stocking up on pickles must be an employee. Also, for those asking, groceries were delivered early this afternoon. Yeah, so belligerent, hostile, injuring a person, breaking a cop's child's arm. This lady and her boyfriend are screwed. That's the only way to put it. Flat out, lives are going to be severely affected, and deservedly so. How can you flip out like that? Boggles my mind. All because of that darn toilet paper, man. Nice try, Karen, but you're not my mother. Where this story takes place is actually the only motel, room access from exterior of building, my parents have managed thus far. It's pretty old and a lot of things have to be manually done or switched on or off. So it was a Friday and early evening. I was heading down to the opposite side of the hotel to turn on the exterior lights, the electronic sign, parking lot lights, etc. This motel didn't have all doors with electronic locks, so the door I had to get through was actual lock and key. So I'm walking down past all the rooms when a door behind me opens. I keep walking, barely throwing a glance over my shoulder. I eventually make it towards the end and I'm just about to pull out the key when I hear rapid footsteps. I turn around, stopping another wild Karen in her tracks. Alright, she didn't really look like a Karen, but I had been in the lobby when she checked in and yeah, no doubt about it. For a second, she actually hesitates to talk, almost fooling me into thinking, oh great spaghetti monster, was I wrong about her? Ha, nope. Karen begins to berate me for not being behind the desk and getting her food. What the heck? It's a motel. Where does she think she is? La expensive hotel? I tell her in a mocking way since I honestly gave zero freaks about what she thought. Oh sure, let me just snap my fingers and conjure food from the non-existent kitchen, your highness. She did not like that. I was sure she would start yelling at me for mocking her, but nope. You're a witch? Once more, I ask, what the heck? This just took a turn that made me long for a big stick to smack her upside the head with, because something was obviously just rolling around up there. Maybe if I smacked her hard enough, I could make her qualify to be shipped up to the loony bin or the funny farm. I start laughing in her face, mostly from my own thoughts. Her face starts to turn this shade of red that makes me laugh even harder, because it makes her look like the tomato from VeggieTales in a blonde wig. Why are you laughing? I'm the manager's wife and I can fire you. Still laughing, I'm bent over trying to breathe properly with tears streaming down my face from laughing so hard. That makes me start snorting from breathing in and out at the same time. I know that's total BS. I wrote in my first post about my parents, right? My parents are the collective manager here. She has no idea. I eventually take a deep breath, clench my nails into my palms, and look this Karen straight in the eyes. You'd fire your own daughter, Mom? I later told my mother about this and she kind of found it insulting I'd say that. My mom is so much better looking according to my father. Gagging noises. Karen looks so dumbfounded by what I'd said that I have to actually turn my head towards the side completely so she's out of my line of vision. so I don't start my laughing fit again. She huffs angrily and walks away. I turn on the lights and think that's the end of it. Nope. The morning shift typically has to clean up breakfast, and since I was helping my dad, who at the time was suffering from something unknown on his legs that made it painful to walk, I was the one that was cleaning up breakfast. It's from 6 to 9 and it was about 15 minutes from 10. I was just wiping down the counter now. Nothing was left from breakfast on the counter except for coffee for guests. I go into the back office and start washing dishes, which means that my dad has to keep his ear out for the door chime to go off, signaling that someone has come in. I am in the middle of washing dishes when I hear yelling coming from the front. I'm greatly concerned for my dad and rush towards the office, grabbing my phone from the desk in case I had to call 911. I didn't. Lo and behold, Karen had arrived. She was yelling at my dad about how there was no breakfast set out, how he was a crappy employee, and how she knew the manager. Yeah, well, she did. She was talking to him after all. My dad kept trying to explain breakfast hours were over and they were under no obligation to keep it open for her, even pointing to the sign right behind his head that stated the hours too. Karen was not having it. She saw me as soon as I walked in. And your employee cursed me last night when I was simply asking for directions. No, she didn't say cursed at me. I have to do the whole nails and palm trick to not start laughing at the memory, because I would no doubt get in trouble for that. My dad turns to me and gives me this questioning look. I shake my head and shrug. Ma'am, she's not an... I want her fired right now. Well, as we say in the industry, the customer is unfortunately always right. My dad turns to me, his face away from Karen, and gives me a grin before saying, "You heard the lady, you're fired." I give him a returning grin. Okay, Dad, I'll go finish the dishes. Karen starts sputtering nonsense, but my dad turns to her and says, "Is there anything else I can help you with?" Karen demands to see the manager. Now in the back office, a few steps away from the open door that separates the office from front desk, I watch my dad stroll into the office, in quite a bit of pain which made me mad, close the door, wait a minute, before he walks back out and says, "I'm the manager here and I'm asking you to leave the property." Karen screams, "Well then I'm not paying." Okay, guess what? You already paid a check-in with cash that requires a $50 deposit, so therefore you're not getting it back. My dad shrugs and I walk out from behind the desk a moment later to refill the coffee pot, where Karen has moved to get some. That's right, she didn't leave. Karen starts yelling at me now. It's endless screaming and yelling, I swear. What the heck are you doing? You're fired. I smirk and tell her two things. One, I'm the manager's daughter and not actually an employee. Two, the coffee here is for paying guests. And since you clearly stated you're not paying, you can't have any. The coffee was out anyways, so she couldn't get any even if she tried. Karen, now understanding why I had called her mom the previous night, storms off. I don't see her again for the rest of the weekend. Which to Wild Karen 0. Yeah, you're at a motel? Motels don't have room service. This lady was so dumb from the get-go. I don't know what she was expecting. And then to go be belligerent, hostile, yelling at people, demanding people to get fired. Absolute Karen right here. Mistaken for an employee while shopping for my daughter-in-law. Wholesome. I was at the local grocery store with my service dog, doing some shopping for my daughter-in-law as she was not able to leave the house. Bed rest about to go in labor. She had asked me to do the shopping so that way when she gets back from labor and delivery, there would be food in the house. So I agreed and myself and my partner Sparky, service dog, went to the store. We walked in and I no sooner get the buggy, Sparky starts alerting me to calm down. So I make my way to an area that is off to itself, out of the way of other shoppers, and took 45 minutes to get myself together. I did not know where I had been sitting was a staff-only area, but I found out as soon as I walked out of the area. An older gentleman came up to me and started asking where this, that, and the other was. Since I knew the store like the back of my hand, I decided to assist him with his mission. Plus, he did ask nicely, so no problem. We are going through the store, he is getting his things, and I am getting what daughter-in-law has on the list. We get to produce and a lady comes up to me. I will call her NL, nice lady, for short. "Excuse me, young man, where's the strawberries? I have been looking for someone to help me, but there is never anyone around when you need them. I'm sorry, ma'am, that you are having a hard time finding someone to help you. Even though I don't actually work here, I do believe the strawberries are over one display." She was very apologetic and said, "I am so sorry to bother you. I just thought that you did work here." I'm so very sorry to bother you." The older gentleman said,
"What? You don't work here? Then why would you help me with my shopping?"
"Sir, it's because you asked nicely. Plus, my mama would tan my britches if I didn't help you after you asked so politely." Both older gentleman and nice lady laughed at that statement, and OG said,
"Well, I guess it was my own fault. I have never seen an employee with a dog before. Why do you have a dog in the store for, Sonny?"
"He is a service dog. He helps me cope with civilian life. When he saw me come out of that area, he had been getting me to calm down, so I could get my son and daughter-in-law some groceries before she goes and has my first grandchild."
You do realize that area is for staff only. That's why I thought you were staff. And congratulations on the new child. Well, I won't hold you up any longer. Thank you for helping an old man like myself."
Then he left to go check out. "Well, I think your mama raised a wonderful gentleman. I was going to ask about your dog, but I understand. I work with veterans, so I know how hard it is to adjust back to civilian life. Keep being strong. Your children and grandchildren need you." Then she gave me a hug after she asked and left. After that, me and Sparky went to check out and went back to my son's house with the groceries. I told my daughter-in-law what took so long, and she laughed. 1 week later, she gave birth to a baby boy, 7 pounds, 10 ounces. That was a year ago. Such a sweet story from OP, and OP sounds like such a sweet person. And of course, a belated congratulations to OP on the grandchild. Overall, a very wholesome story as the title stated. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening to and watching the Storytime channel. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and let us know what you thought about these stories in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching and listening to the Storytime channel.